Having gone from being a Houston police officer to becoming one of the top working comedians in the country, Billy D. Washington has a fascinating story. What a life, being hugged by Justin Timberlake, kissed by Jerry Jones, traveled with and opened for Aretha Franklin, and he's O.J. Simpson's cousin. Wait, what? Oh, I need to hear more about Billy D, and so do you. Here is Barry Laminack with this week's Spotlight interview, comedian Billy D. Washington.
Hey, thanks, Lauren. I'm joined by Billy D. Washington. You know, I'd like to act like I don't know Billy, but Billy and I have been friends for a while, and I got to start this by saying I owe a lot to Billy in my career. And I don't know if he wants to claim that because it isn't that good.
Come on,
but
man.
Billy helped me get started, so I'm excited to do this interview and have a chance to sit down with you and talk to you about your career for a change instead of you talking to me about mine. So.
Hey, you know what? Because you've always been talented, always a good dude, and I'm always willing to help. Just like you are willing to help when you see something, positive, somebody trying to do something cool.
Yeah.
But I want to congratulate you on not only the comedy, but the sports broadcasting.
Oh, thank you.
Because the radio show is number one in the market. He did not tell me to say that.
That's true.
Number one in the market. And how difficult is it, because, there are parallels, like what we do together. Because everybody thinks that they can do what you do. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks that, you tell them that you're a sports broadcaster, they go, oh, well, people tell me all the time. No, they don't. Nobody has ever told you that, right? You ever get that when you're, as a comic?
It's the same thing.
They're like, I'm a comedian. Yeah, people tell me all the time. No, they don't. I've talked to you for 5 minutes. Nobody's ever told you, stop saying that.
I'm the funniest guy in my friends group.
Exactly. So we have to stop these people from claiming these jobs.
Amen.
Nobody ever says, if I tell them I'm a violinist, nobody ever says somebody told me I could be a violinist. Nobody ever says that. But it's always comedy, broadcasters. No, they have no idea everything that goes into this. So I congratulate you on your success.
I thank you very much.
Thank you for having me in.
Yeah. Now, you have a radio background, so you did radio. So you're literally one of the guys that could come up to me and say, I could do that because you did it. You go all the way back to like the Rock 101 KLOL days,
my
right?
first ever radio thing was, first ever radio job was at a radio station called 1590 Raps. And it was the first ever hip hop station in the state of Texas. It was me and Val Wilson, the incomparable Val Wilson. 1590 Raps, I was on there every morning. But the problem was, I was a cop at the time, so I couldn't say anything about it because being a cop and being integrated in the hip hop culture was not a good thing. Because at the time, the Ghetto Boys had a song called Mr. Officer, How I Want to Put You in the Coffin, Sir. No, why you want to put me in the coffin, sir? It was like, everybody was after police, and I was like, yeah, this is Billy D. Yeah, so what else do you do? Nothing.
I have no side
And the thing is,
gig.
I worked in with sort of these rednecky dudes, so they never listened. So the cultures never crossed.
Yeah.
That'd be a great film. Like if I was just like this cop, it was because it happened. I was this cop on this hip hop station. I was hip hop. I smelled like weed all the time. Never smoked. But then I see these people I worked there, put on my uniform, going, hey, you pull over. Hey, ain't you the dude? Shut up.
I know that voice.
I know that voice.
When we talk about Houston comedy, and when I started six and a half years ago,
right.
One of the things I did was I made sure I wanted to know the history of Houston comedy. And there was a couple of names that surface whenever you talk to somebody about the history of comedy in this city. And Bill Hicks is one of them.
Right.
Your name popped up a lot. You were one of the first legitimate headliners to tour the country from the city of Houston. And you did a lot beyond just that. I mean, you were on VH1. You had your own show on VH1, which I would never say I could do. You had so much that you did. If there was a Mount Rushmore of Houston comedy, you would be on it. What does that mean to you to know that you were kind of one of you paved a path for a lot of us Houston comics that are coming up now?
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but critically, it means everything. Like critically, for people to say, okay, he was the first person to do this, first person to do that. I'd like to think that I gave a sort of a different face to black comedy to let people know that black comedians aren't just these monolithic creatures who go up and do the same types of stuff all the time. So, and I was able to compete in an arena where African Americans weren't really competing in back in the late 80s, early 90s, because they didn't take us seriously. They looked at us more like novelties. But I wanted to compete I wanted to compete with the white dudes. You know what I mean? I wanted to be that dude that said, okay, I can do this, but I can do this too. You know, I can take these same templates and I can make it work on both sides. So I just hope people appreciate that part of it.
Comedy is almost like a bingo card. You gotta mark certain things off on your card.
Right.
And opening for a band is one of them. But of course, in typical Billy D. Washington fashion, you have taken it to a whole other level. You toured with Aretha Franklin.
Yeah,
That's different than opening for a band. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to John Westling too, who's one of my best friends. Love John. He has an album coming out really soon. Yep. But opening for her was just like, I mean, even to call it life altering is an understatement. But just like to see that talent like on a monthly basis or twice a month or whenever we toured, and to see her as an ordinary person and then to see her for the superstar that she is, it's just crazy, man. It must be like having watched, Nolan Ryan, like in the day and been a back catcher. Well, not really the back catcher, but whoever would open for Nolan Ryan, who would that be?
You talking about like the bullpen catcher?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the bullpen catcher. Yeah, because I wouldn't like to catch him because that'd make me the bass player, I guess. Right. Nah, okay, I'm getting off again. So she was like mother. She was like auntie. She was like friend. But when those lights came on, let me tell you something, Barry. She was Aretha flipping Franklin. Yeah. All day, all night, dude. It was incredible.
Now, I mean, the stories about her is she's kind of a diva, but you tell a different story.
No.
You knew her very well.
No, never saw. I saw people push her into being a diva.
Uh-huh.
I saw people try and disrespect her, and she wouldn't have it. Like she was eccentric. Like she didn't take checks. Mm-hmm. No, you'd see some dude walking in there with handcuffs on 2 suitcases full of money. You will know, okay, that's the check.
Yeah.
Because, she paid in cash and the whole deal, we filled out our tax forms and whatever, did the whole deal, but, she was eccentric. Yeah, man, she was an incredible talent, and it was a huge loss, man, when she passed away.
Well, let's talk about you now. Let's talk about this album that you have coming out, The Washington Post.
Yes.
It is your 5th album.
5th album. But so this one is so special because when I reached out to him, they responded in a positive manner, and they wanted to deal with me. I'm not going to pretend like they came looking for me. I went looking for them. I put all my chips on the table and said, okay, I'm going to do this one way or another. I wanted to do a new album anyway because I have all this new material that I wanted to do, all this social stuff that I wanted to say, which I think is very important. But I spiced it up just to make it more, I make it funny, but it's still stuff that I want to say. And if they didn't do it, I was going to do it myself, but then they wanted to do it, so I was super happy because now it's going to be on 400 platforms worldwide. And
so it's called The Washington Post.
Yes.
They can get it on iTunes,
Google Play, Pandora. You can hear it on XM, Sirius. It's on any place that you can hear music. It'll be on.
Billy, I thank you in more ways than one, man.
Thank you so much, Barry. I appreciate it, man.
All right, best of luck with the album.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.